Boldwood presents The Three Witches, written by Elena Collins and read by Antonia Beamish. The Royal House of Scotland in the 10th and 11th centuries. First witch, where the place? Second witch, upon the heath. Third witch, there to meet with Macbeth. Macbeth, Act 1, Scene 1. The weird sisters, hand in hand, posters of the sea and land, thus do go about, thrice to thine, thrice to mine, and thrice again, to make up 9. Peace! The charm's wound up. Macbeth, Act 1, Scene 3. The fearful abounding at this time in this country of these detestable slaves of the devil, the witches or enchanters, hath moved me, beloved reader, to dispatch in post this following treatise of mine. King James I of England, 1566 to 1625, Demonology, printed by Robert Waldegrave, printer to the King's Majesty, 1597. Prologue. 1048, Moray Alba, Scotland. The young woman stood before the group of soldiers and her accusers, her head down, her wrists tied roughly with rope. She stared at her bare feet, her muddy legs. She didn't look up. There were no friendly faces to offer any comfort. She was cold, so cold that her skin was a translucent shade of silver. Her hair stuck to her face, strands hung down in damp clumps. Her lower lip was swollen. "Say who you are," a woman said. Isobel knew her. She'd known her all her life, and she knew how much power she wielded. "You ken who I am?" Isobel could hardly move her lips. "Say your name," the harsh voice repeated, "so that all here present may see you for what you are." Isobel shivered. A raw wind blew from outside, from the forests, from the sea. She could smell the air, a tinge of smoke from the thatches in the village, the scent of the outside world that she'd never see again. Her voice was a whisper. "When Macbeth Macfindlake returns from his travels, he'll let me go." "Your name?" "I beg ye." Isobel raised her head, and her vision was blurred. She briefly took in the walls of the great hall, the high windows, the long table that was still filled with food from earlier feasting. The woman who sat opposite her was dressed in a fine lane, edged with fur. Isobel swallowed, and when she spoke again, her voice cracked with sadness. "Please, just one more time. Let me hold her in my arms." "Never speak of her again. She's gone from ye." The woman stood up, and Isobel could see that her hair had been freshly plaited and coiled. "Let us finish this bad business, and then ye can be dealt with." Isobel wondered if there was any hope. Her body was frail. Her spirit was tired now. "I'm Isobel Drenched." She felt a sigh shudder from somewhere deep. "I'm 17 years of age, or so I believe. I'm the youngest daughter of Sidheag and Gamelin Drenched. My mother was a wise woman. My father was killed fighting in the battles with Macbeth and—" "Enough!" The woman raised a hand, and Isobel was silent. She glanced away from the men who circled her carrying daggers, their faces expressionless. A servant stepped up and handed the woman a cup of wine. She sat down, frowning into her cup. Isobel licked dry lips with a thick tongue. She hadn't had a morsel of food or a drop of water in days. She asked, "What will become of me?" "You've been accused." The woman sipped delicately. "There's one outcome for such as ye." "Then speak to Lulach. Speak to him. He'll say that I'm not what ye say I am. He and I love each other. We planned—" The woman recoiled from her chair like a snake and sprang, slapping Isobel's face with a hard hand. Isobel did not move. She felt too weak to fight. "Say his name again, and I'll tell these men to cut out your tongue," the woman spat. "I've sent him away. He's far from your wickedness." The words made something inside Isobel snap. A tear fell down her face, another landing on the stone floor, disappearing. She blinked until the last tear was gone, until her vision cleared. The woman was inches away, her face twisted with spite. In a whisper as dry as leaves, Isobel said, "I've seen what will come, what will be. Ye will become old, withered, and alone. Everyone ye love will leave ye. You'll never feel the warm happiness of true love." "Ye lie! I have my husband." For the first time, the woman looked afraid. "I have my son, Isobel shook her head, and the woman's words stopped, as if trapped behind her teeth. "No, madam, ye'll have nothing. When people talk of ye, it'll be of a woman of dust. They'll remember ye for a while. Then you'll be forgotten." Isobel turned to the guards. "Take me to that place where you keep me, where it's cold and smells foul, where I'll wait for death. It'll bring me more cheer than being here." The woman moved to strike Isobel again, but something in her expression had changed. Her face was taut. "Take her away! Lock her up! Give her no food or water!" She watched as two guards gripped Isobel's arms and dragged her away. Then, her voice wild with terror, she screamed, "You'll not be there long, Isobel! I'll see to that." Chapter 1. 16 years earlier, 1032, More Alba. "Gilacom Gain isna a nice man. I canna bear him near me." The Lady Gruach's face shone with tears, but she made no move to wipe them away. "He's your husband, madam." Sidheag took her mistress's hand. In the firelight, Gruach looked even younger than her 17 years. "He's young and handsome. His breath is foul. He drinks ale every night, and when he comes to my bed, he's rough and his beard scratches." "You shouldna speak ill of him. Someone might be listening behind the door and run and tell a tale." Sidheag glanced around the turret room. Moray Castle was vast and grand, but it was always cold. Her two small daughters were dozing in the corner, huddled together beneath a sheepskin rug, their faces angelic in the orange glow. Her third child, a girl of just a few months, was asleep on her lap, rosebud lips still pursed from feeding. Gruach followed Sidheag's eyes, her gaze falling on a tousled blonde head on a low bed, half covered in furs. "I care not who hears me, Gilacom Gain or his men." Gruach returned her gaze to the flames in the hearth. "My son's well, and so am I. The tea ye gave me helps me sleep. What did ye say it was?" "I call it goose tongue, madam, and I put some ram's head in to help your stomach feel calm." "Nothing can help me live with Gilacom Gain. I didna want to marry him. He's rough, he has a vile temper. My brother Macbeth made me do it. I'm the daughter of the House of Malcolm, a Scottish princess. I must continue the line, but Gilacom Gain treats me like his whore, not his wife." "You have a son and an heir now. Perhaps you'll get some peace from your husband's appetite." "I hope so. He didna request my company at the feast tonight. He'll be in his cups, drunk and laughing. Gilacom Gain chooses servant girls to warm his bed most nights. He tells me he's a lusty young man and must be satisfied. But oh, Sidheag, I hate him." "You have Lulach, madam. He's a beautiful boy. And I have ye to thank for that. The labouring was hard, but ye are hale No, because ye gave me things to help me. Blood of Hestia, I call it. That's chamomile and pennyroyal. Or the bairn and I would both surely have died. Then ye helped me to feed him, and when he grew too big, you gave me the salve to stop him sucking. Hawk's heart makes a good ointment for the nipple. Some call it wormwood. A bairn hates the taste and will let go immediately. You've been kind. You need me less and less these days. But it comforts me when ye come. To see ye and Lulach thrive is all I ask for, madam, and to see my own 3 lassies grow to womanhood. Ye have no husband to care for ye, Sidheag. It'll be hard. My man, Gamelin Druminiac, was too good for this world. I couldna keep him long. He gave you 3 lassies. Gruach glanced to where 2 of them were sleeping. Mairead and Ysenda will be bonny. They'll soon catch husbands. And the one in your lap, wee Isobel, born soon after her father died. I remember the night. The heavens were full of wicked storms. She's the image of ye. Aye, she's very like me, Sidheag said quietly. Mairead and Ysenda are like their father. I'll repay ye for your kindness, I promise ye. Lulach's the joy of my days. I had no idea being a mother could bring such happiness. It can, yet it makes us she-wolves, Sidheag said. We're fierce. We'll protect them no matter what. I wonder what he'll become, my boy, Gruach said. Will he be a great warrior, with his blonde hair and those broad shoulders that almost killed me in birthing? Or will he be a swill belly like his father, always after the ale and the lassies? He'll be what he'll be, Sidheag said. In the flickering light, her face was gentle. She drew her finger tenderly across her baby's face. Gruach grabbed her hand. Please, I beg ye, do that thing you do when you look into the fire. She stared into the flames. When I look, I see only dancing light. But when ye look, ye see what's to come. I begged you not to mention it, Sidheag whispered. But ye saw that I would have a boy child, and ye saw that your Gamelin would be killed in battle. Gazing into the flames makes me weary, madam, and sometimes I dinna like what I see. But what of my fate? Some people call it weird, which means our destiny, what is to come. Have ye heard of the weird sisters, the fates who spin the thread of life? All's measured, and we can do nothing to change it. But Gruach pressed Sidheag's hand eagerly. What will become of my Lulach? He's 3 years old now. If I'm to spend every day with Gilacomgain and his awful breath and his spiky beard, I need something to keep my hope alive. I dinna like to look at the future. You may see happiness for your girls too. Perhaps Mairead will have many bairns, or Ysenda will have rich suitors, or Isobel. I've already seen in the flames what becomes of us. Isobel will heal people's pains. Mairead and Ysenda are their father's bairns. They'll follow him. And Lulach? Oh, please, I beg of ye. I canna refuse ye, madam, but once I see what I see, it's hard to keep my tongue still, whether ye like it or nay. I'm not afeard of the truth. Then so be it. Sidheag turned to the fire with a sigh. Her fingers idly threaded through the copper skeins of Isobel's hair. A frown deepened as she stared into the leaping flames. Shapes began to merge. Her heart pounded. A feeling of grogginess engulfed her, pulling her into its centre. Then she saw the figure of a tall young man and another, broad-shouldered, wearing a crown. Her voice came, thick with emotion, as if from outside herself. I see a man who's the king. Your son's his favourite, like his own child. Then Lulach could be king one day. Gruach clasped her hands. He's of the house of Malcolm, as I am. But who's the other man? Wait, I see a woman, too. 2 women. He turns from one to the other. My son will have 2 wives, or 2 daughters. Does he have a son? I see a boy child. Oh, no, I see a fool. Sidheag's voice faltered. An unfortunate fool. Gruach grasped at her sleeve, and her mouth turned down sulkily. What will happen to Lulach? Sidheag closed her eyes. The earth seemed to whirl. In a movement, she pulled baby Isobel tightly to her chest and cried out, I smell burning. It's in my nose. It's all around. She was alert now. The heavy stench was in the room. Choking smoke seeped around the corner. What? Gruach rushed towards the bed where her child lay, scooping him in her arms. I smell it too. A fire. Downstairs in the hall. Sidheag moved fast. She woke Mairead and Yzenda, bundling the sleepy girls into their blankets, shepherding them towards the door. Isobel tucked in the crook of her arm. The children need to be moved. We canna stay here. What will we find down there? Gruach hugged Lulach, still in his furry blanket. I'm afeared. We'll be safest beyond the castle walls. Sidheag panted. Come, little ones. Mairead, hold Yzenda's hand tightly. Madam, listen. There's a fray in the great hall, but my home's just a few moments away. We may find safety there. Sidheag led the way down cold steps, her feet echoing on the stone. She was still dizzy. Staring into the fire always left her faint. But, with one arm cradling Isobel and the other guiding the sleepy toddlers, she hurried to the open doorway that led to the great hall. She stopped, holding her breath for fear of choking in the billowing smoke. A fierce fire roared at one end of the hall. Piles of firewood covered in grease blazed. Shadowy figures rushed around, carrying burning branches, diving from behind the crackling wood that flamed red. Sidheag clutched the children tighter, Gruach behind her carrying Lulach. She watched men move slowly, their faces masks of panic. The intruders were now among them. Gilacomgain rose from his bench, slowed by too much beer and food. Smoke filled the hall, suffocating heat spreading in clouds. Sidheag shouted over the noise. There's a door near the dais where the guests sit. Let's get the bairns outside. They moved fast, dodging men with swords, once shadows, now murderers. Sidheag ran blindly, sweeping her children towards the door, Gruach behind, panting hard. A small hand clutched at her lane, grabbing at the fabric of the tunic. Yzenda was doing her best to keep up, but she was tiny. Sidheag lifted her quickly, head down to check Mairead was safely by her side. Screams pierced the air. The smoke made it hard to see. Someone shoved her hard. She stumbled, and her arms tightened around baby Isobel and Yzenda. A figure loomed towards them. Mairead squealed, and Sidheag held her too. Already the fresh air from outside felt cool. They were paces from safety. A man blocked the entrance. 2 men, one tall shadow facing another. Gilacomgain, Gruach's husband, stood in the doorway, filling the space. He had made a run for it. Time slowed as he turned, realizing too late that he was being attacked. A dancing figure hurtled towards him, and Gilacomgain reached for his dagger. Recognition filled his face as he looked into the eyes of a broad-shouldered blonde man. He seemed to recognize the same familiar curves and lines as in his own face, etched with the same expression. The figure's dagger was already drawn and raised. The marauder lunged, plunging the weapon into the soft flesh of Gilacomgain's stomach, and he tottered and tumbled, blood spreading in a dark pool. Behind her, Sidheag heard the timber of the hall collapse and crash. The attacker turned fiercely, holding a dripping knife. His eyes narrowed as he noticed Gruach. The Lady Gruach, he said, between clenched teeth. Sidheag stepped forward. Ye'll do my mistress no harm, master. We've children here, and ye will nae hurt them, or ye'll find yourself cursed. Dinna touch my child! Gruach was staring at the body of her husband, clutching her son, unable to move. She raised her voice over the turmoil and chaos of men clashing in battle. Ye hear me? I hear ye, woman. The man glanced at the children. Are these bairns yours? Ye'll not harm them. Sidheag stood her ground. Nor my mistress. Now will ye please let us pass? It's smoky in here. The wee ones canna breathe, and my eldest already has an ague of the lungs. The man held his dagger high, still as a statue, looking from Sidheag to Gruach. Then he took a step backwards. Ye can pass, unharmed. I've killed the man I came for. He murdered my father, Finlick MacRory. He willna take life again. Thanking ye, Sidheag said, moving forward. The man stretched out an arm to stop Gruach. She glared up at him, teeth bared, her son in her arms. He lifted her chin, examining her face. Gruach Engen Boide, daughter of Boide Macsined. We've met before, princess. We have. Gruach didn't flinch. Ye and my husband met many times. Your dead husband. The man released his hold and turned his gaze to the child she held in her arms, who hid his face in the folds of his mother's cloak. This is your son, Lulach. It is. Gruach's eyes flashed. Ye will let me pass? Of course. I will na harm ye. The man almost smiled. I apologise for burning the castle, but it can be fixed. Aye, it can, Gruach said. Along with my heart, for I will nae mourn Gillicum gain long. She stepped forward with an imperious nod of her head and led the way into the cold night air. Outside, Sidheag gasped fresh air as she hugged her children close. Mairead was crying. Sidheag kissed her and whispered, We'll all go back to the hut your father built for us. We'll stay there and be safe. Thank ye, Gruach said softly. She glanced over her shoulder, where more screams came from the great hall and grey smoke billowed. Sidheag looked up as a sliver of moon shifted behind a cloud, leaving a weak trail of milky gauze. This was a night she'd never forget. The air held tension like a magic spell. She whispered, That man knew ye. Who is he? His name's Macbethad MacFinlach. His mother was Donada, second daughter of King Malcolm II. She pressed her lips together, covering a secret smile. And he's my husband's cousin. I believe we'll see him again before too long, Sidheag. Did you not see the way he looked at me? Chapter 2. The present day, Bristol, England. Look at me. I'm talking to you, the Dutch detective in the raincoat said. Where's your wife? Wife? She was nothing but a slut. The muscled man, in vest and jeans, folded his arms, making a barrier between them. The slag had it coming. Where is she now? What did you do with her? The Dutch detective's voice was hushed. In contrast, the muscled man began to shout as two policemen restrained him. You'll never find her, and it won't make any difference if you do. She's stone cold dead. Stone cold, the detective said, flatly. He grimaced. Check the basement. Cut! The director looked around. Let's do the scene where the body's found in the basement. Can you get into the freezer, please? Ruthie. Ruthie stepped forward, wearing a skimpy nightie, her dark hair tousled over her face, a bruise painted on her cheekbone. She walked towards the chest freezer and clambered in, leaving the top open. Right, when you're discovered, Ruthie, I want eyes wide open, a glassy stare, lips parted, as if the last thing you did was to holler for help. The shot will only take a few seconds, but I want to shock the audience. It's all about impact. The director adjusted his glasses. Are you good? I'm good. Ruthie hunkered down as the lid descended with a clunk. She rearranged her limbs and her hair and took a breath in the way she'd been trained to do. There was a pause, some low chattering from technicians. Then she heard the Dutch detective say, "She's in there, guys. I'd bet my pension on it." The lid was lifted, and Ruthie did her best corpse impression. The moment held, a little longer. She heard the words, "Cut! Right, can we do it again? Different shots, different angles?" "Of course." Ruthie wriggled down inside the freezer, ruffled her hair and called, "Ready!" 6 hours later, way past 7 o'clock, she was home, starving hungry. She'd missed lunch. With expert fingers, she pressed the keypad to the marina and the gate swung open. Hands in jacket pockets against the light breeze, she made her way towards the little green houseboat, moored securely on the water. She hurried into the galley kitchen, crammed with all her familiar stuff, desperate for a herbal tea. As she filled the kettle, it occurred to her that even corpses found in freezers needed refreshment. The thought made her laugh as she opened the fridge and reached for a box of cooked pasta, left over from last night. She took the steaming cup of tea and her pasta to the open-plan lounge with the huge sliding roof to let the sunshine in. It was too cool to open it now, although the May sun was still warm outside. She sat at the table and turned to her laptop. She needed another job. The money she made at the coffee shop kept her going, but each time she looked at the website Bristol Acting Jobs, Auditions and Casting Calls, she hoped she would find her big break. The screen lit up, and Ruthie scanned the jobs. Brand shoot, models needed. Serial drama. Ongoing work. Italy TIE tour. Ruthie hovered the mouse over the blue letters and clicked. She'd done theatre and education tours before, the most recent being in Cardiff. Before that, she'd been one of the presenters of a dynamic travel documentary series, 12 Hours in Sweden. It had been good work while it lasted. She read the job specifications out loud, practicing her newsreader voice. "Do you love theatre and working with children? Would you like to join a company that provides interactive shows and fun theatrical workshops to Italian students wanting to improve their English? Rehearsals in Arma d'Italia, Italy. Tour nationwide 1 to 3 weeks." She paused, taking a forkful of pasta, chewing. "View details and apply." Italy would be fun. Ruthie imagined the camaraderie, devising a piece for performance, playing in front of rapt young audiences. She might even have time to learn a bit of Italian. The details asked for fluent speakers. She wasn't likely to get it. After the pasta was eaten and the job applied for, Ruthie reached for her tea. It was cold now, and she felt chilly too. Although the freezer hadn't been switched on during filming, the icy air had whipped through the flimsy nightie and made her flesh numb. She glanced at the inviting wood-burning stove in the houseboat, the eco-radiator and the flat-screen TV. She deserved a cosy night in, a Netflix binge. She needed to learn to slow down. Small acting jobs squeezed between too many shifts at the coffee shop made Ruthie a dull girl. What had her friend Scarlett said? She needed to get out more. Scarlett was wrong, though. Ruthie was fine. She stretched her feet out in woolly socks. Despite the summer weather, she craved comfort, and gazed at the photos on the boat wall. One of her in Oh, What a Lovely War, in Pierrot costume, laughing, thrown over the shoulder of a strutting sailor. In cabaret, full makeup, stockings. The show had had a good run, 6 weeks at the Hippodrome. One of her in Angels in America. She wore heavy wings, her hair loose, carrying a large book, her expression sombre in judgment. Another of her wearing a long peach dress as Sabrina Daldry in The Next Room, or The Vibrator Play, and Ruthie in The Crucible as a shrieking Abigail Williams. Again the dishevelled hair, the staring, glassy eyes. And finally, Ruthie as the shrew at Bristol Old Vic. She'd been an understudy for the main role, doing the comic part of the widow. But the actor playing Katharina had laryngitis and was away for 3 weeks, so Ruthie had enjoyed a long run. It had been one of her best. Being Kate in The Shrew, in a tight red dress and ringlets, teasing Petruchio in a hilarious battle of the sexes, had been glorious. Because her appearance was unusual, tall, slim, dark curly hair, prominent cheekbones, a spatter of freckles, she got the character parts. But it was her life, everything. Since she'd been a child, she'd taken every opportunity to perform. Now, at almost 30 years of age, she felt that theatre was the blood in her veins. Acting was in her soul. Nothing else mattered. Nothing. Ruthie flicked on the TV, lit the wood burner, and chose Coronation Street. Purely research, of course. She'd been an extra in it a couple of times. Once she'd been a drunken woman who was causing a disturbance in the Rover's return, and this made her remember that there was a bottle of beer in the fridge. She was thirsty. She loved the houseboat, sharing water space with swans and ducks. She'd lived here for over a year, a short walk from Bristol Centre, and she was desperate to stay put. The job at the coffee shop paid the rent, and Sonia, her boss, was good about allowing her to work flexible hours while she took acting jobs. The houseboat home made her feel independent, sophisticated even, unique. There was a laundrette in the marina, even a place to lock her bike. Ruthie yawned. It had been a long day. The adverts had started, so she shuffled in her socks back to the fridge. Another programme began. Ruthie felt drained of energy. She stared into the fire, watching the embers burn. Small flames licked and flickered orange as her eyes closed. Words lit up on her screen momentarily. She hadn't heard it buzz. It was her friend Scarlett. "Are you free tomorrow lunchtime? Audition, Hippodrome, be there." But Ruthie was too tired to deal with it, curled up on the sofa, her head on a cushion. She stayed there for an hour, then woke feeling cold, dragged herself to her bed via the tiny bathroom, and immediately fell asleep. The next morning she looked at Scarlett's message properly on the way to Sonia's coffee shop. Sonia would be fine about Ruthie taking time off. It was part of their arrangement. But if there was an audition, she'd need to prepare. It was pointless to ring Scarlett's number as she wouldn't be up yet. Her partner Phil had a job in finance and earned enough for both of them to live comfortably, allowing Scarlett to take acting jobs. And to sleep in. Ruthie pushed away envious thoughts as she thumbed a message asking Scarlett to get back to her. But in truth, she didn't really envy her friend. Being independent suited her fine. There was no one and nothing to think about, other than her career. It felt good for the soul somehow. Being single suited her fine. And when roles came, they were often just extras, or supporting artists, as they were called now. She'd had so much experience playing corpses and prostitutes, dumped wives, and the worried mum with a child in the doctor's waiting room. It paid the bills. But one day, she'd land the role of her dreams, another Kate or Abigail. Until then, she'd take what she could to pay the rent. She turned the corner, and a parade of shops opened out in front of her. Sonia's coffee shop was the red-fronted building on the end, and Ruthie hurried over. Sonia was already outside, setting out red metal bistro tables and chairs and stand-up menus. She moved quickly, bustling in her black clothes and floral headscarf, blonde hair piled up. She turned with a smile. "Good morning, darling. You're just in time. The makovnik pastries need to come out of the oven. And I put in a batch of croissants." Sonia rolled her eyes. "Croissants. People here love them, but they make a mess all over the tables. All the flakes they leave behind." She put her hands on her hips. "So, I see it in your face. You're going to ask me again how much time you want off today." "Lunchtime audition, please?" Ruthie raised begging paws. "Oh, of course, darling. It's fine. It's a good job my brother's boy Tomasz can come in today. He's a hard worker. He's reliable. I'm sorry, Sonia. I'll do all day tomorrow, I promise. Oh, what are you like? Sonia threw her arms around Ruthie and hugged her. Ruthie could smell floral perfume. You'll remember me when you're a rich and famous actor? I will. Ruthie hugged her back. Right, I'll sort out the pastries. For the next 2 hours, customers came in dribs and drabs, then a tide of people on their way to work. Ruthie served up countless double espressos, lattes to go, Americanos, milky teas, breakfast smoothies. By 10:30, she glanced at her phone. Still nothing from Scarlett. She messaged her again. What do I need to prepare for this audition? There was a surge of orders for toast and eggs. Poor Lubosh, Sonia's ever-frazzled husband, who worked as the chef, was rushed off his feet. At 11 o'clock, Tomasz, Sonia's nephew, arrived. Tall and lean, speaking with a voice much deeper than normal for his 19 years, he tugged on a pristine apron and began to wipe tables. He called to Ruthie as he served coffee, his expression mischievous. I put my electrical engineering assignment on hold. The deadline's tomorrow. I might fail my course, but Auntie Sonia says you have an audition with a Hollywood director and that comes first. Not exactly Hollywood. Ruthie wished she knew more, but thanks loads for coming in. She glanced at her phone again, still nothing from Scarlett. It's no problem. So this time you'll be in a big play? You're going to be the star? Tomasz asked. It's going to be Ruthie's big break, Sonia called as she carried a tray to a table of 6. I saw it in the tea leaves. That'd be nice, Ruthie said, collecting plates. Not a dead body in a fridge, Tomasz asked. Or a sex worker, Sonia yelled, ignoring the shocked face of the smartly dressed woman at the table next to her as she set down a cappuccino and a pastry. I don't know. Scarlett just said turn up. Sex worker for you again, then. Sonia glanced at the clock. You should be going now. You need to be on time. Impress them with your smile. And your long legs, Tomasz teased. I see you have the short skirt on today. That'll get you the part. I hope my talent shines through. Ruthie whipped off her apron and looked down at her denim skirt, bare legs and trainers. She untied her hair and shook it loose, reaching for her jacket. Perhaps Scarlett would text her while she was on her way to the hippodrome. At least she could prepare a little, research the role on her phone, work on ideas. She stepped outside into the hot May air. There wasn't a whisper of wind. Here goes, she said to herself. A sense of something uncomfortable wriggled in her stomach. Nerves? Something more? Foreboding? She wasn't sure. As she moved, the heat crackled, as if a furnace had sucked the air away. Ruthie pulled off her jacket to cool down and increased her pace. She didn't want to be late. Chapter 3. 10:37. Moray, Alba. Sidheag took her daughters onto the heath that looked out towards the woodlands. The sun shone over them like a halo as they sat in a circle on the daisy-strewn grass, sharing stories. Sidheag picked a single daisy. Your grandmother, Muriel, had skin smooth as a pebble and shining hair, the deep red of an autumn leaf. Will my hair turn that colour in autumn? Isenda asked. No, ye have the hair of a raven's wing, like your father. He was a handsome man and a hero. We'll ask for a blessing for him today. Why did he fight, Mother? Mairead asked. As long as there are men, there will be battles. King Duncan will nae be on the throne for long. He married a Danish princess. He's no fighter. Your father was loyal to Macbeth and Macfindlach. Now he's a warrior, if ever I saw one. But let's remember the names of the women who brought us into the world. We're here today in their shadow. But there's no shadow. The sun warms my face, Mairead said. I mean that they gave us life, as I gave ye life, as ye will one day give your daughters life. She turned to Isobel, who was sucking her thumb noisily. Daughters who'll change the world. I want to change the world, Isobel said, but I'm only 6 years old. You'll do it when you're grown. My daughters will be wise women. You'll make the sick well and help those in pain. That's women's work. I thought having bairns was women's work, Yzenda asked. I want to have 3 girls like you have. And you will. All 3 of you, to bring them into the world, Sidheag said. Watch what I do now. She gathered a handful of daisies, and her hands worked deftly, threading one stem through a small hole in another. Do you know why a daisy has its name? Because it grows for days, Isobel said. A daisy flower opens its eye in daylight to show its face to the sun. It's the day's eye. Day's eye, Mairead repeated. Its centre is the warmth of the sun. On Midsummer's Day, that's today, it's magical to fill our home with daisies. They bring blessings. Maidens wear the chains in their hair. Some even believe fairies will bring luck today too. Yzenda plucked a single daisy and placed it in her hair. The white against the darkness was striking. Sidheag took her hand. Ye will all find a beloved who will love you back because ye have good hearts. She stroked Mairead's hair. On Midsummer's Day, my mother and I used to thread daisy chains and would use them to make charms. What charms? Isobel asked. New baby blessings, healing, joy, love. Sidheag lifted the long chain she had made. See how strong it is? Yet it's delicate, like life and love, like our mothers who went before us. We're part of the chain. Singly, we're beautiful, but together we're stronger than earth and sky. But the stem's easily broken, Yzenda said. Like a heart's easily broken. Like a life's easily broken. Mairead was thinking of her father, who had so often been away from home. But we're a daisy chain, Mother, because we're a family. Isobel's small hands had already started to thread flowers together. See? I've made a chain too. That's good work, Isobel. Let's make chains and wear them in our hair. To attract a husband when we're grown? Yzenda asked. A charm for good luck, Mairead said. To be stronger together, like the eye of the day. Isobel arranged the daisy crown on her head, small flowers against copper curls. We'll remember our mothers and dance on the heath as it's Midsummer's Day. Then we'll pick herbs. I've heard if ye lie naked in a bed of lady's mantle at dawn, it'll bring good luck, Yzenda said. Mairead was already busy picking daisies. Or you can pick 9 different flowers and put them under your pillow to dream of your future husband. You told me you used to take a seed from an apple, Mother, and you'd name it after our father and flick it to the roof. If it stayed, our father would return. And one day, when I was in your belly, you flicked it and it fell to the floor. Isobel met her mother's eyes. I've heard you say it. It's true. But let's make our chains, Sidheag coaxed. Then, when the sun's highest, we'll dance. Sidheag and her daughters selected the biggest daisies, linking them together, humming as they worked. Soon they had daisy jewels to adorn their heads, their necks, and wrists. Sidheag said, Now let's sing the song of the great bard Avrigine. I am wind on sea. It is a good charm song. It'll keep us bound tightly together, just like the daisies we wear. They stood, joining hands. Sidheag, tall and lean, in her long grey lane. Mairead and Yzenda, their dark locks to their waists. Isobel, the smallest, with copper curls, her face open to the sun like the daisy itself. Their agile feet moving as one, their lanes twirling around their ankles, they began to dance in a circle. Sidheag lifted her voice strongly, and her daughters joined in. Am ga I mór, am tunnid trean, am fu am mara, am dam sheks nirenid, am sheg inil, am der grenay. They danced in the sun's rays, their faces lifted to the light. Then they fell down to the earth, laughing, hugging each other. Sidheag muttered, I'll rest here a while, then we'll go into the woods. I want to show ye a strong plant. We call it the devil's plaything. Yarrow, Isobel said. And what is the real name for dragon's teeth? Sidheag asked. Vervain, Isobel and Mairead said together. And dew of the sea? Rosemary, the three girls chorused. Sidheag's expression became serious. I will teach ye about plants that carry death in their juices. They have good properties used well, but used wrongly, they bring evil. Then why will you teach us about them? Mairead asked. To keep ye wise. That way, ye can be aware of their power. There's the blind eye that people call poppy, that can make people drowsy, but it can also ease pain. And the tree of doom that people call elder. Some believe it's bad luck, but it can bring down a fever, and the berries are good, taken in a drink. Isobel was fascinated. I'd gladly remember all the plants' names and how to use them. I'll tell ye anon. First, I want to rest in the sun. Sidheag stretched her long legs. A crown of daisies still in her hair, Isobel said, I'm going to collect some sweet-scented flowers. I'll pick a bunch for home. Ye may find bloody fingers, foxglove. Pick some for me, Sidheag said as she dozed. Isobel wandered away on light feet towards the distant clump of trees, leaving the warm embrace of the sun for the cool calm of the forest. She loved the way the birds chirruped up high, how she recognised each song. She knew the light chirp of the bittern, the throaty call of the pheasant, and the way it beat its wings noisily. There was some ground ivy beneath her feet, and she stooped down. The fresh or dried flowers were good for the stomach, and helped people who held too much water in their bodies. Isobel had heard her mother say this. She remembered everything. The snap of a twig made her stand up quickly. Her keen eyes saw a movement beneath the trees, the flash of bright colour of a plaid. She paused, listening, but there was no sound. I know you're there, she said, unafraid of her voice in the silence. I dinna care if ye are man or goblin. I can run fast. A boy stepped from behind the tree. He was tall, blonde, and his plaid and lane were a deep green. Isobel thought he must be from the castle, because most people in the village had dull-coloured plaids. He faced her, and they eyed each other, not speaking. He was older than Isobel, probably 8 years old, and he looked strong and well-fed. His eyes were a deep blue, the blue of the skies, of deep water. His face held a seriousness, as if he was often left alone, or he had never had fun. Isobel put her hands on her hips. She was about to change that. Are ye from the castle? Aye. So why are ye here? My father and mother are kissing. I heard him say he wanted another son, so I came here. I'm not his real son. My father's dead. My father's dead too. He was a great warrior. My fathers both are great warriors, then and now. How can you have two fathers? My real father was Gilacomgain, and my new father, who's now Mayor of Moray, is called Macbeth Findlach. He owns all of Moray. He canna. These are my woods, not his. Isobel said. Are ye a sprite? What if I am? I'm not afraid of ye, sprite, but I can make a spell to have you fall in my power. Isobel noticed how the boy believed her words, so she added, I can do magic. My mother showed me how. Is that why ye are here, to do magic? Aye. Can you make me king one day? Why would I do that? My mother wants me to be king more than anything. I heard her say it. She's of the house of Malcolm. I dinna care about Malcolm or his house, Isobel said. I can run faster than ye. Ye canna. Then try to catch me. I can catch you easily. What's your name? Lulach. I have heard of ye, Lulach. My mother used to visit your mother when we were small. She gave her soothing teas and mixtures to help you sleep. Why does your mother not visit now? Your new father, the king, forbade it. He doesn't like the idea of potions. Besides, your family are seldom at the castle long, I hear. What's your name? It's Isobel. Then I'll catch you, Isobel. And if I do, you have to give me something. What will I give you? A kiss. Then you will nae catch me. Isobel started to run deeper into the forest. Lulach was at her heels, crossing the ground quickly, twigs snapping beneath his feet. He was a fast runner, but Isobel was like lightning. She dodged behind a tree, darting away from his grasp, hiding behind another tree. Her voice trilled. Ye canna catch me, Lulach. Ye are slow. He lurched towards her, and she twirled with a swirl of her long lane, laughing off into the distance. Lulach followed, crashing over branches and sticks, making too much noise, while she ran soundlessly on light feet. Lulach extended a hand, grasping, and she laughed again, out of reach, and disappeared behind a tree trunk. A red deer watched at a distance, bemused, as Lulach stopped to catch his breath. Ye're too fast. Ye have magic to take ye away from me. Aye, I have. Ye are a sprite, Isobel, with spells in your feet and flowers in your bright hair. What chance have I against that? I'm just a boy. Ye are. But my mother told me that people are stronger if they're chained together, so... Isobel walked forward, removing the daisy necklace carefully from around her neck. She reached Lulach and placed it around his. There ye are. I've given ye a daisy chain on Midsummer's Day. Your dreams will come true. I believe ye. Lulach looked from the daisy chain and back to Isobel. His eyes met hers. Then, in one movement, he leaped forwards, and she was in his arms. I have ye now. I caught ye. I let ye catch me. I felt sorry for ye. I claim a kiss. Isobel rearranged her face as if she didn't care. Just one. Then I'll go. Where will you go? Back to my mother and sisters. I tarry too long here. But I must have my kiss first. You may have just one. Isobel closed her eyes. Lulach's lips touched her cheek. A kiss. Isobel had never felt anything so warm, so tender. She stayed where she was, enjoying the long moment that passed between them. Then she tugged away, scurrying back the way she had come. Are ye coming with me, Lulach? Or shall I leave ye here, to the wolves? Lulach thought for a moment. Then he was running, trying his hardest to keep up with her, his daisy chain bobbing around his neck. Chapter 4. 10:40. Moray, Alba. 3 years passed. September of that third year brought in raw winds that blew bitterly around the cluster of little huts beyond Moray Castle. Sidheag and her youngest daughter huddled, listening to the low howl through the broom and straw roof. Isobel stared upwards, round-eyed, hoping the roof would not blow away and leave them exposed to the savage weather. Sidheag reached out a hand and ruffled the red curls. Our home will na fly, A small knot appeared on Isobel's smooth brow. "But you say our father flew away into the skies after he died in battle." "Your father rests in peace. Each day we think of him." "Did he build this home for me and Mairead and Ysenda?" "Aye, he built it good and strong." "But we're poor as mice now." "Well, the mistress sends coins when she remembers, but it's true that I'm rarely called to take potions now. The king forbids magic in the castle." "And the queen is often away." "Her husband fights in battles, so they move from castle to castle with their son." "Aye, I remember Lulach, mother. One midsummer's day we played a chasing game, but Lulach couldna catch me, so I let myself be caught just to be kind." "I doubt you'll see much of him now." Sidheag pressed her lips together, deep in thought for a moment. "Many things have changed, and there'll be more changes to come." "Why?" "Things dinna stay the same." Sidheag listened as the wind increased its whimper. "Ah, can ye smell the bannock bread's baked now, and the herby broth's ready? The skies grow dark." She pressed Isobel's cheek with the palm of her hand. "Set the food by the fire. I'll call Mairead and Ysenda. They're a long time collecting twigs." Sidheag wrapped herself up warmly and hurried to the door. She disappeared from view, and Isobel picked up a black shovel, easing the bannock bread carefully from the clach banag, the hot stone in the fire. The warm oats smelled sweet and toasted. A broth of turnips, carrots, peas, onions, herbs, and beans was bubbling softly. Isobel loved the sound. It was as if the pot chattered to her, a round popping of rising water. Carefully she stirred the pot twice and settled down to stare into the flames. Something caught her attention there. A face. She gazed into the licking flames, orange, red, a flicker of purple and blue. There he was, a man looking directly at her with serious eyes. He was broad-shouldered, his hair was light. There was an air of arrogance in the way he held his chin. Then he was gone, and Isobel felt a pang of loneliness, as if the moment had been snatched away. She looked again, but there was only the blaze leaping high above flaking grey ash and crackling black sticks. She was too close to the heat, so she sat back on her heels. "We're here, Isobel!" Ysenda rushed into the hut, dark hair flying loose. She dropped her armful of sticks by the fireside. "Oh, it smells good!" Sidheag came in, wind-blown, hugging sticks and branches. Mairead trailed behind, hair in 2 long plaits. She looked tired. Sidheag dropped her kindling and ushered her eldest child towards the heat. Mairead coughed twice, and then said, "Dinna fret, mother. I'm well." Ysenda turned quickly, pushing back a stray curl. "The cold wind makes her chest wheeze." "Aye, it comes from the ocean," Sidheag said softly. "I'll give you some motherwort and some onion eye. That'll ease the breathing." "It'll help me sleep too," Mairead said, looking a little guilty. Her mother had struggled from the nearby woods, clutching her bundle so that she could walk behind without a burden. "I love the sea, though." Ysenda took a morsel of bread and bit into it. "I like it when we walk to Findhorn and sit on the beach in the sunshine. And in the evening, we make a fire and bake a fish. I love the way the foamy water rushes in and back out again, leaving little bubbles behind." "Ye are a dreamer, Ysenda, but ye are right. The fish taste good baked on the fire. Let's eat." Sidheag noticed her youngest daughter staring trance-like into the flames. "Isobel, what keeps ye?" "Oh, forgive me, mother. My thoughts were elsewhere." Isobel had been thinking about the young man she'd seen in the flames. Her heart ached for him. They sat, eating quietly. Darkness crept into the hut as they huddled around the fire. The flames threw light onto their faces, but shadows lurked and shifted in corners. Mairead said softly, I heard that death sits in the dark and waits for ye to fall asleep. Then he comes out to take ye in his arms. He kisses ye with his mouth, and it's full of soil. And then ye die. That's foolish talk. Sidheag warmed the span of her hands. Ye are still a girl, Mairead. When ye are a woman, ye'll learn more about life and death. When I'm 13 years old, Mairead said. I want to be a wise woman.